Harry is miserable in California, but the tough William taught him what a life lesson is. There have been multiple stories out recently that Harry is asking to rent an apartment in Kensington Palace, and apparently he is even going so far as to offer to pay for the furniture all by himself. It has been reported that he was given a very quick no, and I'm guessing that William doesn't want Harry to be anywhere near his family for a multitude of reasons, the biggest one being all the death threats by those Sussex sugars against the whole Wells family. What in the world are those two thinking? I mean, now they're wanting to rent an apartment at Kensington Palace. They've got nothing except their connection to the royal family to go after, and that connection is getting incredibly weak. Now he's just as big a wannabe as Meghan is. Just look at that recent court case throwing in his HRH and the fact that he is the son of the king. If it's true, considering that he despises the firm, I mean, I would think that if he needs somewhere to live in the UK, he would buy something in London away from his family. But I guess he is desperate for that address because it gives him the connection to his family and also the chance to put the palace as his UK residence. Furthermore, okay, so say he's calling William and William's not accepting his calls, just for argument's sake. Why in the world would William want to take his calls anyway? After all, the trash that Meghan and Harry spewed against the royal family, William's family, his lovely wife, his beautiful daughter, and Harry abusing the memory of their late mother and all the epic lies the two of them told? No way would William want to speak with him, I mean without lawyers and advisors present at least, and after Harry is carefully stripped and searched as well. I mean anything Harry has to say after all the damage that he and Meghan have done is probably nothing that William wants to hear. I'm sure it upsets William just to think about it. And then, of course, I'm sure William is feeling heartbroken at what has become of his little brother. Once upon a time, they seemed so close. And look at what has happened to their relationship, all because of this piece of gutter trash. All calls and communications from Meghan and Harry have to go through royal lawyers. The royal family knows good and well that Harry cannot be trusted, and of course Meghan can. And you know, they'd be recording calls to the royal family to get some material for Netflix. It looks like Meghan and Harry are being completely ignored, and that's how it should be. The fact is, if Harry had never met Meghan, then he would have occupied a pretty important role in the royal family for a long time because he is the son of the king, and later on he would be the king's brother. He has to know this, and he has to know what he gave up by listening to that demon he chose to marry. And now look at him. So Harry is an egomaniac. We saw that in the Oprah interview, the me you can't see spare, and all his videos about misinformation in the media. Let's just forget about his own misinformation, I guess. Harry let the media say the royal family was racist for 2 years before he tried to take it back. Harry has also talked about his family needing to take accountability and apologize for something they did to Meghan. Harry despises his brother so much that he talked about his baldness and some personal private secrets for public consumption. I mean, he talked about his brother's penis. How did he think that was okay? And he hates his own father so much that he claims he ordered fighter jets to pretend to bomb his father's vehicle, destroying personal property on somebody else's land. What a despicable person. And apparently now he hates Catherine so much that he tried to portray her as this cold, cruel bully and spare. But he didn't succeed. He only confirmed what we already knew, which is that Meghan is the bully in this situation. He has so little respect for his niece and nephews that he thinks it's okay for him to say whatever he wants about them. But if anyone ever puts Lily or Archie in the public eye like that, oh boy, are they going to get it from Harry. He hated his own great-aunt Margaret because she should have sympathized with him because she was also the spare. And he also hates his Aunt Anne because she is praised as being the hardest-working royal. But those events that he claimed were sometimes just little blips. He also despises his stepmother Camilla. In a normal business, we talk about people climbing the corporate ladder, but in the royal family, things work the opposite. You end up going a bit down the ladder with each child that is born to the heir. Well, Harry, that arrogant prick, cannot handle any of that. He's not going to go back, and he doesn't want to go back. I don't believe that he's calling his brother. I mean, after all, he hates William, and he is incredibly jealous of him. And don't misunderstand me. I know Harry is absolutely miserable there in California. He can't be happy. But he doesn't want to be happy because he's got so many problems. But he doesn't want to go back to the country that he hates, and he doesn't want to have to be around William and Catherine and their kids because they remind him of everything that he will never be and everything that he lost. It tells us a lot to look at the photos of Harry before the whole Meghan catastrophe, laughing and smiling when being around William and Catherine. We can compare those photos to the later photos of him being dragged around by that nasty woman Meghan Markle. He looks as miserable as can be in most of those photos. I believe that if Harry had not met Meghan Markle, then he would have been an excellent support system for William. He married somebody who wanted everything and realized the only way to get it was to fight for it. Well, look at where it got both of them. I don't think Harry ever really wanted to stop being a working royal before Meghan entered his life. But I think he's easily manipulated, and he's not very bright, so he went along with her little schemes. Now, this was all coordinated by Meghan Markle. It was not coordinated by Harry. And I'm guessing in the beginning, Harry thought, oh, this is so exciting. But then reality hit. But by then, he was already in too deep. So apparently, the time that he was going to blow up his father's car, it was his training exercise, and he talked about it, and how he thought that it was so funny, how he saw his own father driving down the road in one of his vehicles, and apparently things went from there, and Harry expressed no remorse or shame over that. There is something very wrong with him. I mean, he told that story in that stupid book Spare like it was no big deal. He also told the story of stealing Megan's laughing gas in Spare like that was some kind of cute story. He is mentally disturbed, and I don't put anything past him at this point. King Charles and the rest of the family should really be worried about Harry's mental state. In history, there are stories about royals being assassinated so that somebody else could get the throne. And let's remember the issue with Harry in an aircraft in King Charles's vehicle. That was some really scary stuff. The truth of the matter is, he has never fit in very well with his family because he just can't control himself when it comes to drugs and alcohol and fighting in the streets. Harry himself is a racist. He's been incredibly cruel to animals and women, and the list goes on and on. I think he's just not a very kind person. His behavior while he was in the forces, where he was kept back from any danger because he was surrounded and protected at all times, his belittlement of the real soldiers, and his racial slurs that he made regarding them funny, well, it was only funny to himself. Harry has only ever loved one person in his life, and that's himself. He has lived off the story of his mother's actions, and he had a heyday when she passed away. He has met the woman of his dreams and tried to damage the royal family by his ugly accusations. He was loved by the Brits and Commonwealth countries, but now I don't think so. Because now he has connected himself to this evil demon who would sell her soul for a penny, and at last I hope he's going to be held responsible for his behavior. Maybe I should stop waiting for or expecting Harry to ever be happy. I don't think he ever will, because there's something deeply sick about him inside. Harry's never going to be happy, so he might as well just stay in Montecito, even after the divorce, because at least then he's going to have easy access to all those drugs he loves so much. So, you know what, Harry, maybe you can just stay away from the UK and do everybody a favor. You'd probably be even more miserable there anyway. After all, you'd have to bow down to the people you are so incredibly jealous of and clearly hate. Who knows what could be thrown at you when you go out in public? Harry's got some very real emotional problems, and he may have some serious psychological ones as well. It's not easy for people with these kinds of issues to ever experience happiness, because, according to them, everything is about them. When they're on top, well, it's because they're such amazing people, and when they have problems, well, it's somebody else's fault. Harry's never going to understand his part in his own downfall. Their lives truly are this roller coaster of unhappiness, and we already know misery loves company. My news today has ended. What did you think about it? Please tell me your opinion below in the comments section, and we can also talk about this hypocritical couple. Don't be afraid to like and share my video with anybody else who needs it anytime you want. And don't be afraid to click the subscribe button to get more updates in the future. Thank you so much for tuning in, have a lovely weekend, and we'll be back to see you all tomorrow.